You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jordan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Boom! That's exactly it.
Do that. Let's do that. Oh, you're a one-arm bandit today.
I knew I was going to get the one-arm thing. I had to unmute you because you can't stop talking before we go live.
Oh,
what's going on? What's going on?
Do you talk to yourself as much? I think a lot of people talk. You know what happened yet?
Not nearly. I think you're your own best friend, Dan. And it's not a bad thing, I don't think.
That's right. That's from Spaceballs. John Candy, he was a Mog, half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend. That was the line from Spaceballs circa 1978. No, it can't be that.
Available on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, available on Amazon. So yesterday, I was on the phone with who else? Stu Shapiro, who constantly calls during every show. And so Freedom Stu has a problem where he doesn't hang up. So like, you're about to say goodbye, but he won't hang up. And so if he's in his car, you can hear him and all that. You ever have people like that who do that?
Oh yeah.
So in the process, he's in his car and I've said, you know what? I'm not going to hang up. I'm going to just see what's going on. And he starts cursing at another car. Like it was a whole big, but like when you're in your own car, you feel like you're in your own world, like nobody can touch you or whatever. And so I really felt like I was invading his space. So I won't tell you what he said. But anyway, so keep that in mind because you don't know, especially in sales, what happens is if you do, sometimes your customer won't do it. So if your customer or your prospect doesn't hang up, always listen in because you can get the inside skinny of what's going on. And then you can know what price to charge and to sell.
Okay.
But now, you know what so in selling businesses, which I used to do as a broker, there's an old adage, a business is worth or a product is worth what a buyer's willing to pay and a seller's willing to accept. It's that simple. So any little advantages are great. So the only way to get a true feeling of what something is worth is with an auction. And just as luck would have it, a few weeks ago, I was out in New Orleans doing something, and I met a real live auctioneer. Not only an auctioneer, but an auctioneer that's willing to come on the show.
Wow. I would have never had you would, in a million years, I would never dreamt you would have said that sentence. A live auctioneer that's willing to come on the show.
Yeah, that's right. So let's bring them on.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Dan Jordan live show, a real live auctioneer and managing director of SVN, Mr. David Gilmore.
Woohoo!
That's it.
Look at that. Man, look at
live
those
and
guns.
in person.
Look at those guns on this guy. You wouldn't
I didn't get a chance to work out this morning, but I did yesterday.
Do you work out every morning?
I try to go 4 days a week.
4 days a week. So were you were you an athlete in your day? Or I'm sorry.
In a past life, yes. I played, football in high school and college.
You played football in college. Chris
you got to remember
played.
That was 40 years ago.
40. Listen, you haven't changed.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Looks like you can strike the Heisman pose. Sun's out, guns out in New Orleans.
No, I was tackling the Heisman guys.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Trying
Defense.
to.
All right.
And so, okay, so how did you go from a college football player to an auctioneer?
Well, a very, very weird. I backed into it. When I was in high school, I went to work for a local amusement park, and I worked there for several years. And my boss sent me to auction school. I had never been to an auction school. I had never been to an auction. And so I went to auction school, and my boss told me, he said, look, if you never ever use this, it'll be great for your public speaking and your self-confidence in front of people. And I said, okay, I get 2 weeks on the beach in Florida. This is going to be great. So I go down to Florida. I do my deal. I learn how to be an auctioneer, learn how to sort of talk fast. They give you the basics. Came back, we did a couple of auctions, and I still worked at the amusement park while I was going to college. And I didn't want to be an auctioneer. I had no intention of being an auctioneer. But when I graduated college in 1982, I had one job offer, and you'll appreciate this. It was from Far Rockaway, New Jersey.
My sister lives in Rockaway.
There you go.
Today.
Yeah, an amusement park there, and
Downey,
like a $10,000 job offer in 1982. And I couldn't do it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and be a real estate auctioneer, because nobody was doing that around here. And so I went to a friend who was a real estate broker. And after they stopped laughing, they said, you better learn how to sell residential or commercial real estate, because you're going to starve. I said, okay. And 37 years later, I'm still here doing real estate auctions.
Yeah.
So that's how
those guns.
That's how I backed into it.
With those guns. So you didn't starve. Wait, now, so what was the amusement park?
It was called Pontchartrain Beach. It had been in New Orleans since the 1930s.
No, not that one. What was the one in New Jersey?
Oh, I'll be honest with you. I don't even remember. It was something to do with Far Rockaway.
Oh, okay.
Beyond that, I don't know.
That's funny.
I don't remember.
Wait, so why did that amusement park originally send you to that school? Did they purchase a lot of their machines and stuff through auctions?
No. The amusement business is seasonal. You don't work in the winter. You're only preparing for the upcoming season. And so my boss, on a whim, had gone to auction school, and he thought it was this great thing. And he said, I'm just going to send you, and maybe it'll help you in the future. And at the time, I had no idea that public speaking was a big deal for a lot of people. And it was a phobia. People don't want to do it. And so it made me more comfortable in front of audiences, and it's not a problem anymore. I've been doing it for a long time. So just like you.
So is that a good business then? Is auctioneering, like, are there a lot of auctioneerings out there?
There are a fair amount, depending upon where you live. I've got some good friends in Atlanta, where you live, that run auction companies. Some sell just real estate. Others sell real estate and farm equipment and hardware stores and liquidations and things like that. It's much more prevalent in the Midwest than it is in the South. But, we get our share of the business.
I mean, because of farming equipment, I guess?
Yeah, I do exclusively real estate. I did everything when I first started. Anything I could get my hands on, I try to sell. But now I've only done real estate probably for about 15 or 20 years, maybe longer.
So I have a story about an auction, and tell me if this is a typical thing. So my mother-in-law was living with us, and then down the street, and this was back when housing prices was 2008 or something, or 2009, everything went, and a lot of builders went kaput. And so there was a townhome like community that was built, and they couldn't sell any of the houses. It was like, 8 or 9 townhomes all put together. They couldn't do it. And so they were going up for auction. I didn't realize this, but like normal, regular people can go and bid on houses.
Yeah, normal, regular people. Yeah. Those are the people who buy, just like you.
And so my wife and mother-in-law went. I didn't even go. And they came home that day and they said, we bought a house. I go, what the heck? What just happened? but it was cool. It was like, it was a real thing where you're like, okay, we need a first bid. Can we get a first bid? And my wife, Chach, was saying, it was like at one point, like they lost the perfect house that they wanted. And so the next one, they were just getting more anxious. And so she started the bidding, and, you know, it was very exciting. Does that happen?
It is exciting. Yes. It's a very exciting process, and people, they don't get really caught up in the emotion that you would at an art auction or an antique auction, but it is still emotional, and people, if they like it, they bid, and they don't like to lose, and so you take advantage of the competition. The other thing that's really neat about an auction, if you're doing a live auction, is that you're looking across the room and you may see a local developer or some wealthy individual that you respect. And if he bids $1 million, you say, well, gee, if he thinks it's worth $1 million, it's got to be worth $1.1 million to me. And so it's a positive reinforcement every time there's a bid. So it works really, really well from that standpoint.
Oh, that's excellent. Is that can like a regular homeowner hire you instead of
Yes.
Instead of
Yes.
putting it on the market for real estate? You could just
Yes.
hire an No way. Are you
Yes.
serious?
No, really.
But you don't come there and like crowds of people. I guess it's done online, or how does that work?
The old way. The old way was, let's say, pre-pandemic. We did about 80% of our sales online and about 20% of the sales on site or in a hotel ballroom in front of a live audience, if you will. Okay. We did others where we would have a few people at the site and a few people online at the same time bidding. And so we've done it that way. Then the pandemic came, and now we're 100% online, and it's working very, very well for us.
Really? But how do you do? Do you go habit?
Yes. Yeah.
You do that?
I get up there and say, hey, 25, 30, he would get 25, 30, he would get 35, 40, he would get 45, 50.
Wait, hold on. Chris Stone, we're on Amazon too. Can you pick a product and just put it up there and have him, and I'll pretend like I'm a guy here. I have stuff, but I don't know. What do I have here? I got stuff playing here. This is
this is amazing.
You sell a 5-in-1 blender? What's a good product that we have, Chris? Yeah,
I've got. Here we go.
Okay,
I'm gonna do an outdoor folding rocking chair.
Ooh,
how about that?
Outdoor folding rocking chair.
Wait, he'll put up a picture.
I'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah, let's go right there. All right.
Hey, start them off 20. He would get 25, 25, 27, he would get 27, he would get 30. At 30, not 32.50. At 32.50, he would get $35. He would get 35, 37.50. At 37.50 now, 40, we get 45. At 45.50, he would get 45.50 all done, all through. We would get 45.50 once, twice, sold it. $45.
Oh my! That is exciting. No, you'll do that online, so you can.
Well, no,
that is a good. That is
the new online is strictly online. It's not as much fun from that standpoint, but the bidding, when I sell a live property, it normally takes about 4 or 5 minutes at the most. And every time after an auction, after I say sold, I'll go to the front door, and as people are leaving, they always say, wow, that was really good price. I should have bid. So in the online world, you can leave the bidding open for a week. You can leave it open for 1 day. You can leave it open for 4 or 5 hours. But what's really neat is if someone bids in the last 5 minutes on my platform, the auction extends automatically. So there's no sniping like you see on eBay. You can't jump in at the last second and win the bid. It'll automatically extend and tell everyone else that it's time to bid again. You've been outbid. And that works very, very well. And when it's all over, a bidder cannot come to me and say, oh, gee, you dropped it on that other guy too fast. I was getting ready to bid. In this case, they have no excuse not to bid. So it works really, really well.
That's no sniping.
Yeah, see, sniping is the biggest problem when you're doing it on eBay. I've got a question for you, David. When you were in real life, and maybe you still will eventually go to real life, back to real life auctioneer as opposed to online. I don't know, but I would imagine. We're on a sales show, right? And part of, figuring out why people buy sometimes is body language. Sometimes is, and so when you're in the zone and you've got people bidding and you're watching them, and of course people are trying to keep poker faces, right? But you've done it for so long, you probably can see and maybe get some tips on like, hey, I'm going to go to this price because I can see that this person is really doing this, or this person is really doing that. So when you're in the game and you're seeing facial expressions, body movements, things like that with people and how they buy, how does that work in your world?
Well, you're exactly right. After doing it for a long time, whether it's 10 people in the middle of a house where you're really close to them, or it's 1,000 people in the Hyatt Regency ballroom, you get to learn those faces and the facial expressions, and they're leaning into you, and you can tell when a guy's either done or he's not done, or a lady's done or not done. So you to go back to them again and give it a little bit of a nudge and get them to bid one more time. So yeah, I'm able to do that. It came naturally after doing it for a long time. So yes.
How what was the highest priced item you've ever been a part of?
Let's see. We sold a 430 acre former psychiatric hospital for the state of Michigan for $34 million. We also worked.
Wait a minute. Was that did that happen to be in Traverse City, Michigan? Do you know?
It was outside of Detroit.
Okay. All right, then a different area. I was going to say, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
He's from Michigan.
Okay, we also worked on a team that sold about 420 apartment units in Richmond, Virginia, for about $36 million, I believe it was. So those are probably the biggest that we've been involved in, and we do. Heck, I sold a house the other day for $75,000. So, we do it all in between. We've also sold, as weird as it sounds, we had an estate that we sold for a former governor of Louisiana, where we sold cemetery plots. That was really weird, but it was part of his entire estate where we sold acreage and improved properties, and he just happened to have these cemetery plots, and we sold them. So it worked out fine.
Yeah, you'll sell anything.
Just about.
Just about, as long as it's legal. Now, your company, is it just you, or you got a team?
I have a team, and we are part of the SVN. We're an SVN franchise. We've got 200 offices nationwide, and we've got about 5 auction companies that are part of those franchises. And so we work together with the franchises in the other cities and help them sell some of the properties that they may be listing, or when it's the right situation.
So you could go anywhere. This is nationwide. If I have enough sofa sack beanbag chairs in somewhere, sitting in a big warehouse somewhere, and I say I can't get rid of these sofa sack giant $100 beanbag chairs, David Gilmore can come and liquidate me.
Well, I could, but I'd probably get a friend of mine to sell beanbag chairs. I want to sell the warehouse. See,
there we go.
And yes, we can go anywhere in the United States and even outside of the country. I've sold in about 38 states so far.
My gosh, this is awesome. So how do you guys get paid? Do you get a commission on the deal just like a regular? And I'm not going to ask you what the commission is, because I know what you're going to say. It depends, which is a diaper that's available on Amazon. Yes.
Yes, we get paid a commission, and the way we do it is a little different. In some cases, we add what's called the buyer's premium. So if you sell something for $1 million, we add the commission on top. You get the buyer to pay that. It works really, really well.
Oh, well, so if you get extra, so it goes. So wait, It's a regular commission structure plus a little juice if you get more than they're expecting.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a base, like, so you're not going to sell it below a certain thing?
Normally, many of our clients have some sort of reserve price in mind that we agree to. So if a property's been on the market for 2 years at $5 million, we know that if they ask for $5 million, we're not going to do the job. So we're going to go in and get them down to a reasonable number, in our opinion. And if they agree, we'll take the job.
Well, then what causes somebody to go to you, or a government to go to you, versus a real estate agent or a commercial real estate broker or something like that?
Well, if you're the government or you're the bankruptcy court, you want a fair and transparent sales situation. In other words, you want to make sure that everybody has a fair chance, and no one can be where they sell it to a politician or someone that's favored in the market without giving everybody an opportunity. And so the government space is like that. The bankruptcy space is like that. In today's market, we don't get a lot of $300,000 houses because the market's so good. You put your house up on the market, you get 7 offers, and it's sold in a week. But what they don't tell you is the properties that are $1 million to $5 million that aren't selling quickly, or they're not selling at all. And so we just sold one in uptown New Orleans for $3 million. I have an appointment next week with another high-end property that we may also do. So it's usually, it could be a financial situation. They've moved out of state. They got another house. They're paying 2 notes, and it's dragging them down. They haven't been able to sell it, and so we'll look at that and see if it makes any sense. Personally, I tell clients that if we can get the property first before it ever goes on the market, we can do a better job, because there's no ceiling on the price. So if you know the property was listed at $5 million, you're not going to get a nickel more, because everybody in the world knows it was listed at $5 million. And so, but if you don't have that $5 million on the street, then it may exceed that number, and we may do great and get excess dollars on top.
It's funny. There's like, you would normally think that the auctioneering business is the shadier side of real estate sales, but really it's the much more transparent side.
Exactly. It's very fair, very transparent. There's no favoritism, if you will. And in an online auction, I can't even drop the hammer, if you will, on somebody quickly without somebody knowing. In other words, if you're in a live auction and you're in a hurry, I may sell it to Dan because I know Dan, but I wouldn't do that, but you could. And but online, you don't have those issues at all.
Well, you know what I love? You know what I love about this? I love I love lingo that's based on its actual thing. So when you just said drop the hammer, that's what you're talking about dropping the gavel, just dropping the hammer. That's awesome. Yeah. And when you said on the street, literally on the street, that's what I once I once saw this. It's like an old show, probably on Channel 13, a PBS thing, where some guy was building a house and he was doing everything by hand, and it was just one of those guys that's doing all this thing. And there was somebody interviewing him and all that stuff, and he was getting all flustered because he was doing something. He goes, "You got to stop. I have too many irons in the fire." Like he literally had too many irons in the fire, where the expression came from. You, David Gilmore, had just made a story for me. Dropping the hammer as an auctioneer. Love it.
Going once, going twice, sold.
So you say that, going once, going twice. So do you ever get people say, whoa, 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 when you say twice?
Some. Well, what generally happens is the going once, going twice, third and final call usually gets the guy who's on the fence that isn't the high bidder yet. It'll get him to, because he knows you're about to drop the hammer. And so he sees that and he waits till the last second and he bids. And then you do it again. I've done it multiple times and people continue to bid. It's really interesting.
Now, have you ever bought anything on auction?
I have never. Well, I'm the only real estate auctioneer in Southeast Louisiana that only does real estate. So I don't have any others to go to. But no, I've never bought at my own sales because I think it's unethical. And I've never bought at anyone else's auction. So no.
Well, I mean, have you ever bought anything on eBay? I mean, have you ever done that?
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay,
I didn't snipe though. I don't think that's right.
You didn't. I didn't even know that that's a word. So that is a real word.
No sniping. No sniping. Yeah.
You
we need like a T-shirt.
You can bid at that last second and get your bid in. The guy that was the high bidder gets knocked out, and you win. I don't think that's fair.
Oh, so you see, he's free and transparent. SVN Auction Services, they're free and transparent. That's all. So this is a franchise, and you've owned the franchise for how many years?
Since 03. What's that? 17, 18 years.
Gosh.
Yeah. It's been good for me.
Yes, it's been it's a good business now. So you bought it. You were already, the people that get that franchise, they may not all be auctioneers already.
No. There's only 4 or 5 of us that are auction companies. The rest of them are commercial realtors.
Oh, really? So you're doing it as an auction service. This is cool. So Chris Stone, could you believe that there's an actual auctioneering school?
There's of course. Yeah, I mean there's a there's probably a crochet school there, I mean I'm not I mean there's going to be I know there's YouTube for everything, but accreditation and all of that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. That didn't surprise me at all that there was.
I think it's good because your business is one that I obviously can't do. Like, I know that I'm not professional at it. I always think it's a problem for like photographers and people like that, because like everybody thinks that they could take a picture. Everybody thinks they could take a camera, but not this. I think the challenge, you would get a lot more business. I don't think a lot of people know that you even exist, that your industry even exists, that it's available to the regular person.
Well, it's more of I guess more of a corporate or government situation. It's much more difficult with individuals because an individual's home is their biggest asset generally. So they need every nickel they can get out of that asset, and they'll hold out for that. Where in a surplus situation, they need to sell those properties and replenish other funds maybe. If a bank has them and it's bank REO, they need to get that money back into the bank. And it's not that they're going to give them away, but they've got a little bit of play in the situation to be able to sell them. So it's I don't do as many individuals. Now I do more individuals in an estate situation. This year I've probably done 10 properties where the patriarch of the family has either been is deceased and the children are selling the properties off, or the patriarch of the family has been put into a nursing home and they're selling everything to take care of mom and dad's long-term expenses. So that's estate work, and we do a fair amount of that.
Right, yeah, because that's difficult, and those higher price prior things. So your main customers are those big estate, higher price pieces of property, and then banks, I imagine, and governments.
The government, we have a contract with the Utah Department of Transportation, a 5-year contract to sell their surplus property. And as weird as that sounds, the Department of Transportation buys up land to run a road down the middle. Let's say this is a very simple explanation, but they put the road in, and what do they do with the property on both sides? See, so that's surplus. And so they're getting surplus all the time. And so we go out and sell that. We had 14 properties last Wednesday, a week ago, and we sold 12 out of 14 for about $10.5 million. And that goes back into the fund to help the state of Utah pay for the roads and that type of thing.
Well, this is so cool. This is
it's a great system. We've probably sold in the last 3 years, total $55 million for them, and we hope to do just as much in the future.
Oh my
gosh, that's kind of our deal.
So you would like more contracts like that
Absolutely.
with more, and so and it's because I remember we have a little lake property here in Georgia, and the lake was developed by Georgia Power, and so Georgia Power bought all this land, and they built the dam in there, and then all across the side, it's all owned by Georgia Power. Now they've been selling it off over years and years and years, but if that was just a new thing, and they wanted to recoup some jack, they could go to an auction and just knock it out real quickly.
Yep.
In fact, maybe that's what they do. Sometimes you hear that. Don't you hear that, Chris Stone? Lakefront property available, and it's like come to an auction. Oh, that's David Gilmore.
It's me.
That's right. That's a way to go. This is so cool. So you've been tell me about your company. So it's you. It's just you. Do you have any family members involved?
I have a business partner, and my son works for me, and I have an office manager. So yeah, that's it.
Oh,
we don't have not a big deal. We're lean and mean, sort of like you. Lean and mean, and,
that's right.
And we can go anywhere. I have some other partners that work with on some of the contracts in other states, and it works out and works very, very well for us. And
you're in New Orleans. So how long you been married?
I have been married for 37 years. It'll be 38 years, October 7th of this year.
Oh my gosh. You still like it?
I do. I'm not so sure she likes me, but I think so. She keeps me around.
And you have the one son. Any others?
I have a son who's 34. He's married and has two little girls, 9 and 6, and he has one little boy on the way. Is going to be born, I believe, in late September. I have a daughter who's 31 and is a first grade teacher at the same high school, at the same school that I graduated from. So that works out really well. Yeah, Georgia's a little different, but first grade isn't high school where we come from. But I understand, the different. I know. I'm just. It goes from like 18 months to 12th grade.
Does it really?
Like yeah, they get them early and keep them in. Yeah, one school. Well, it's actually two campuses.
Oh, yeah. So when I went there, Chris Stone, we're here in Georgia, in Louisiana. I think there's like different levels of heat, and it's just below sitting on the sun. Right. Where they are. It's unbelievable, and it's like so amazingly humid. You come out of your car, your glasses fog up, but I mean fog up completely. Like you can't see. You're in a cloud. It's it's amazing, and nobody complains. It's very nice. I don't know where I was.
We complain. You just didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not a big complainer about the weather. Everybody just complains about the weather, but nobody ever does anything about it.
Yeah, right.
So do you play golf? Do you play golf?
Badly. I play every so often at that country club where we had the meeting.
All right. Have you ever auctioned off a golf course?
I did actually. That's true. I auctioned the land around a golf course in Washington State.
Well, so who like, have you ever had somebody partially famous that bought something from you or even bid or anything? You've never had any big hitters and stuff? I mean, aside from me?
We've had some local radio personalities, but no, I never. I don't know why I didn't have some very wealthy individuals, but no one in that league.
Yeah, well, that's it's a very kind of big, small town where you are. It's very nice. Everybody kind of knows each other. You were born there and you live there forever.
I am born and raised in the greater New Orleans area and have never, other than 4.5 years of college in Thibodaux, Louisiana, which is only an hour from here. I've always lived in New Orleans.
Really? That's good. Yeah. You sound like New Orleans. You sound I guess so. I don't know what I sound like.
So David, speaking of what Dan sounds like, I don't know if you know this, but Dan of course he wants to be a pitchman like Billy Mays, but secretly, and maybe like 1B, if 1A is Billy Mays, 1B is that Dan Jordan wants to be an auctioneer. And so much so that he's actually prepared himself with gear that he bought on Amazon to be an auctioneer. And he actually has a video on Amazon of him demonstrating something that would maybe he could one day be David Gilmore, and maybe you want to hire this guy to be an auctioneer. This is
wearing the same shirt.
Yeah, in somebody's house with this thing where he can hook up his microphone and start. Here, we're going to fast forward to the spot where he's here and he's hooking up his microphone. How's that technique, David? What would you say is
look
technique?
Look at it. See that? I look like
as an auctioneer. Is that good, or is it like? I mean, how would you grade this guy? Like prepare.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's
not bad. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and be Simon Cowell on this. Be harsh if you need to be.
It's not bad. And he's actually got good technique. Never point at anyone. Never point, but always with a open hand like this. And so if you're bidding this way, you say, 25, now 30. And you do it like that, where you can just have that open hand, because pointing is makes people uncomfortable. But other than that, you're doing a pretty good job right there. So you're doing okay.
I'm big with demonstrations.
Yeah. Look, it took me about 3 years to get to where I sort of like the way I sounded.
You're pointing at people again, Dan.
Yeah.
Stop pointing.
So
you're the best.
Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
Well, I think that's exciting. So when you actually do the auction, do you ever offend people? Do people get mad at you if they lose, or
yes.
Give me?
Well, they get not violently mad, but sometimes when a guy waits, and you're saying going once, going twice, last call, sold it, and the guy way over here on your left that you can't see raises his hand, and you missed him, or your ring man missed him, and
wait, there's a ring man? There's a ring man?
We call them bid assistants or ring men, where the auctioneer can only see so much. So normally there are ring men or bid assistants that are standing in front, looking at the audience and picking up the bids and basically relaying them to me, to the auctioneer.
Is there a ring man school?
There actually is. There's one.
Gosh.
Yes.
I've never been to it, but there is a PRI, Professional Ring Man Institute or something that guys go to, and you may have seen some of those guys at the Barrett Jackson classic car auctions. A lot of those guys are all those guys that are in the audience, and they're blowing the whistle, or they're waving the red flag, or they're going yep. Those are ring men.
Oh, that's
awesome.
That's really cool. So do you find yourself like the skills that you learned at the auctioneer school long ago that this guy sent you to, do you still kind of utilize those skills?
I utilize the basic skills. Yes. The chant, which is the 25 to give 30. The chant I changed up. I listened to a lot of other auctioneers and got to where I liked it a different way. And I'm heavy on numbers and just a few little filler words. Other guys, and where I went to school, they taught a little more weird thing that I didn't particularly like. But I sort of found my own rhythm. And I don't say a lot. When you do the chant, it's a number, and I usually say, "Would you give?" or now, 25 to get 30. 25, and you do it quickly to where you can't really tell. 25 to get 30, now 40. At 30, you're going to get 40, 40 to 45, 50. So I'm a lot of numbers and just a couple of little words in between. So
I just love that. We should have you. I can't believe you're not on the microphone.
The words are, even though you can kind of hear them sometimes, but it's would you give? Right?
Yeah.
And so from a sales perspective, I mean, if they are catching it, even subliminally, It's almost like, would you
Right.
give this? Would you give this? Would you give this? Yeah.
I'm telling them what I have and what I'd like to have, what the next bid is. 25, would you give 30?
Wow.
And then if you're doing it in thousands, it's 25,000, able to get 30, able to get 35,000, able to get 40. And you just add the deal in, whether it's thousands or millions or hundreds or whatever.
Wow, that's good. Now you don't do that on the online stuff, obviously. It's online. It's just people are just looking at a computer.
Right. What I do lately, I give some of my clients a choice. Would you rather me like the Bankruptcy Court? I just converted them over to online. But I said, listen, if you want me to do a live auction, I'll do whatever you want me to do as long as we get the job. And so, we give them that choice. But I tell them, I really believe that we get more money online only because it gives them such a second chance.
Yeah.
And so when you're standing in a house at 11 o'clock in the morning and people have places to go, you just can't keep them for more than a few minutes. Heck, when I did ballroom auctions, we'd have 1,000 people in an audience and I'd sell a property every 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Wow.
We sell 100 properties in a night. And so you really don't have a lot of time and you're just rocking and rolling through it. Sold here and then you go to the next one.
Well, how do you get the people? This is for anybody who's in business. The thing that he's just throwing away was we had 1,000 people in the audience. How did you get 1,000 people there? Do you guys do some marketing to get everybody there? Do you have a program for that?
We do an entire marketing budget from newspaper to social media, emails, hot air balloons, signs on the property. We do the geofencing now. That's been popular the last few years. So we do everything we can think of. We do the aerial videos, the drone videos. We have all that ready to go, put it on the website, and we get it out to people. We get, thousands of hits. Just to give you an idea, the Utah Department of Transportation sale a couple of weeks ago, we had 28,000 web hits for about 3 weeks.
Wow.
So, we understand how to get those people, how to target market and get those people ready to come to an auction or go online. So, yeah, it's a heavy marketing. We really are marketers more than anything else. The auction part is, I hate to say it's secondary. It's more exciting, but again, if you get the people there, none of this matters.
Wow. Well, that's really big. We need to talk about that offline, David Gilmore, because that could be a additional income source for you if you could teach some people how to do that stuff. That's really exciting. So hot air balloons and like those big gorillas that have their names on them, that type of stuff on the land. Well, tell me about this geofencing. I know you say it's been popular, but a lot of people don't even know what that is.
Geofencing is where they pick a radius around a property, might be a 5-mile radius. And if you are present in that radius, you drive your car through it and you get online, you're looking at Facebook when you're driving through or something like that, you get tagged. And that's how, sort of like Amazon, where when you look at a pair of boots on Amazon, you get boot ads that follow you for 3 weeks. Very similar to that situation. So when you want to reach a lot of people in an area, it works pretty well. Yeah.
Why were you laughing, Chris Stone?
Well, the geofencing thing, you can get really, really, really finite in terms of like you can get people if you want to target people in a particular country club, and that they've got a particular amount of money. You can target like their the area where they play tennis, and as they walk through this geofence, this very specific geofence, that's when you hit them with a possibility of hitting an ad if they're on Facebook or if they're on Amazon or if they've got their phones open or whatever. You can hit them right when they walk through that geofence, and it's I've been targeted,
exactly.
So that's why I'm laughing.
It's scary. Well, I told you about what happened with me. I was talking with my wife. We were just in the house, and I said, and she was talking about something serious, and I'm like, Chach, I gotta go to the bathroom. And she goes, well, just wait, just finish this. She wanted to finish. She was talking. I said, Chach, I really got to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom. Next time I went on YouTube, there were ads for prostate medicine. Like somehow they figured out I said it too close together. and the AI just made that all.
I think
Don't
that was
give up your-
coincidental, maybe.
Don't give up your day job for comedy, Dan.
That's
Or singing, by the way. I heard the Met song.
oh my gosh! Oh, that that happens. Sometimes you're just driving around and you get a song in your head from like when you were a kid.
The Mets.
Yeah, that's right. You know the song. Did you see the video this morning? Anyhow, well, that's David. I actually some of these shows I are just fun and games, but this one I actually learned stuff. This was great. I think. Go ahead.
Does that mean it wasn't fun and games?
Yeah, it was horrible, but I did get to learn stuff. Actually, learning stuff is the best thing you can do, and I learned that there's more opportunities for you, which we'll talk about afterwards, but there's opportunities for me too in this whole world to share this idea of auctioning property. It's another option that I didn't think was available, and I don't think most people do. And that's what's fun about doing these, and that's what's fun about watching these shows. Oh, there, we got to get the online thing again. And so I thank you all for watching. I think Chris Stone, once again, he comes in. Is this not a beautiful setup that he has?
Perfect.
You could be on 1,000 podcasts. You'll not see one nearly as good as this.
I want to get a skeleton in my office. That's like that. You win, David. Like,
what's the story behind the
prize?
Yeah, what's the story behind the skeleton?
I don't know. I just always wanted one, so my wife got me one, and I call it Abby Normal.
Oh, that's right. There you go.
From Young Frankenstein. That's Abby.
That's
Normal.
right. Yeah. That's right.
Sometimes I tell people that's a retired auctioneer. He's waiting for a sale.
That's right.
Frau Brooker.
That's
Young Frankenstein.
What's what Young Frankenstein reference? Okay, there's two of them, but we only have time for one. I just thought that was great when he was in the room and he says, whatever I say, do not let me out of this room. And then as soon as the door closes, let me out. It was just, and that was when we first were introduced to Terry Garr. Terry Garr was in that movie, right? Right.
Roll in the hay.
Yeah. And then someone knocked on the door and it was that big thing. He goes, nice knockers. Thank you. David Gilmore, we started off all classy and we ended up with knockers. I appreciate you and all for watching. You guys are the best. Go get them today. Stick around, Jay.